Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Jen and today I'm going to be bringing you my March TBR. We're not going to talk about February. Every month this year so far has been ambitious, and I've somehow managed to at least get myself to a point where I'm okay with where I end up every month. February, I mean granted it's only the second month of the year, it didn't work out for me in multiple different ways. But it did not in my reading. So I ended up moving some things into March. I ended up taking things off the TBR entirely, and we're just not going to talk about it. However, because I am still me, I have a really ambitious TBR again for March. I just can't help it. I love a good readathon, so a lot of the additions to my original plan here are because of readathons, and mostly just kind of, there's a lot going on. I want to consume everything and I just can't, even though I want to. So I'm just gonna, this is a TBR, but some of this is subject to change. So in March I will be participating in 2 readathons. The first is the Final Book Support Group month-long readathon hosted by Steph from Steph Loves. This is the Readalong reading group that focuses on finishing final books. Even though I don't think there are any actual final books on this list, there is a lot of series focus to this, so I'm counting it as participating. The second readathon, which I'm so excited that I get to actually participate in this time, is the next round of Shiftathon hosted by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. This is a readathon focused on reading paranormal romance and urban fantasy, which, if you did not know, is one of my goals for this year, is to read more paranormal romance and urban fantasy. Because it's a genre that I love, subgenre that I love, that I don't read a ton of, but every time I do, I regret the fact that I have not read more of it. So the second I found out that she was hosting this latest round, I basically said, well, there goes my TBR, and here we are. I have not counted the number of pages that I want to read in March, but there's a couple of big books on here. So we're going to start, though, with something that I'm again, it's not a readathon, it's not an official read along, but it's something I am very excited about, and that is the Bergman Binge. If you do not know, the Bergman Brothers series is a contemporary romance series by Chloe Liese that follows, each book follows a member of the Bergman family, and I absolutely adore these books. I'll talk about it in a second, but the first book in the series was my absolute favorite book of 2022, and the brand new book is coming out in April. So I decided that March was the perfect time to binge the series. I have read the first 2. I have not read the last 3 that are out. So I decided that March was the time that we're going to do that, because it's an excuse to reread one of my favorite books, and then also to catch up, because this is one of those series that I definitely want to be caught up on. So these are the Bergman siblings that have been released so far. The first book is Only When It's Us. Then we've got Always Only You. And these are the 2 that I have read. I give these both 5 stars. Then we've got Ever After Always, which I believe is a marriage and trouble trope. And then we've got With You Forever, which I believe is a marriage and convenience trope, which I love. And then we have Everything for You, which is an enemies to lovers romance. So I am super excited to be reading these. I think I'm going to try to do like 1 a week type situation. Obviously taking a break for Shiftathon, which I don't think I mentioned as a 1-week readathon. But I'm so excited for this. I desperately been needing to catch up. And the fact that there's a new book coming out is an absolutely perfect excuse. And so I'm going to be reading all of these in March. If you're interested in reading any of these, let me know below, and I would love to chat with someone about these. There are very few people that I've ever really spoken to who know what this series even is. The next 2 books are book club books, and the first one is a rollover from last month, and that is Blood Mercy by Bella Roth. I don't know a ton about this. I think it involves vampires. And it's a fantasy romance. That's all I know. This is the book we are reading for, I think it's February and March, for Becca from Becca in the Books. Alvaho Patreon book club, and I need to read this, but it's so big. So hopefully I can get around to this. I've been really bad with her, keeping up with her book club, mostly because I didn't particularly care for the Four Horsemen books, but I am interested in at least trying this out, even though it's massive. And the other one is The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is another reread for me, but this is part of a read-along happening, being hosted by a bunch of people, so I will link all of that below. I have read this. I have not reread Kingdom of Flesh and Fire yet, so hopefully I get around to that before that happens, because I'm really bad at keeping up with book clubs. So this is my attempt at being better. Crown of Gilded Bones is on the TBR. Thankfully, I have audio for all of her books so far that have been published so far, so it's helping, but I'm tabbing, so it's taking a little bit longer. So hopefully, that's a lot of pages. These two alone are so big. It's gonna be all right. And then we have my Shiftathon TBR, which is ambitious, but let me tell you a little bit of a story. So this whole readathon is, the origin of it comes from a love of Laura K. Hamilton's Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series, which is a series that I was introduced to when I was a senior in high school. So I was like 17, 18. And was obsessed with it for a long time, and then just kind of fell off. But it really ignited my love for it wasn't like the crux of my vampire obsession, but it was definitely part of it. I think it was in the middle of this that I have a vampire tattoo on my shoulder. And it really is a very memorable part of my late teens, early 20s. So I've been very desperate to participate in this readathon, and so I think I've mentioned, the second that this was announced, I said, well, I guess we're gonna do this, and very excited to participate in this round. There are some prompts. I'm not really paying too much of attention to them, but some of this does fit what the prompts are. Again, this is a week-long readathon. I will link everything down below. So back when I was 17, 18, someone handed me this book. Not this copy, not this. They handed me this book. And then I proceeded to devour it. And then I would read two of these a week for several weeks until I caught up to the series where it was so far. I think it was like 2012, 24. Or it was like 2 months straight where I was reading 2 books a week and absolutely devoured these. So I decided that in this week-long readathon, I'm going to try to read at least 3. So we have Guilty Pleasures, The Laughing Corpse, and Circus of the Damned. These are books 1, 2, and 3. This is not my original copy of Guilty Pleasures. These are my original copies of the other 2. They're also very beat up on the side. But the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series follows Anita Blake. She is a necromancer, and she raises the dead for like legal, like if they need information from somebody who is dead, she raises them to get that information. She's also part of the like I don't know if it's like a paranormal division of, I might be confusing that with a different series, the paranormal division of the like government or the police, and she has the right to kind of get the bad guys. In this world, people are aware that there are vampires. They are part of society. They are part of, they have their own, so basically kind of like they're celebrities that are vampires. Like they're very integrated into the world. And so Anita has the ability to take down the bad guys. And it's constantly going on investigations. And I really love this. And then Anita meets Jean-Claude, who is the master vampire of St. Louis. And then there's that. And then there's a lot of other men that come into her life. And I really enjoyed this series for a long time. I think it's really going to be interesting if I can get caught up, because I think a lot of the problems that I had with this series as it got further along, not to say they're not still problems, but I think I am a more well-seasoned reader now, and I could probably navigate through them a little bit differently, either push myself through them, or the things like you know, there being no plot and a lot of porn. I'm used to that now. So I'm hoping to read at least these 3, but the ambition comes from the others that I am going to be putting on this list. These are other paranormal, romance, urban fantasy books that I've had on my list, and if I can manage to get them in, I'm gonna do it. The first one is Dead Witch Walking by Kim Harrison. This is a book that takes place in Cincinnati and follows Rachel Morgan, who says vampires rule the darkness in a predator-eat-predator world rife with danger beyond imagining, and it's Rachel Morgan's job to keep the world civilized. This just sounds like a good time. She's got all sorts of fun things. This one, I don't know anything about this, but I do know that I owned it. I got rid of it. Someone told me I should read it again, so I bought it again. So I should read it, right? Yeah, probably. The next one, and I don't know, this is probably the least one that I'm interested in at the moment on, and that is the Mary Gentry books by Lorca Hamilton. I don't know a ton about this, but I bought them a long time ago, and I've never actually read this series. So I do want to try this out if I have time this week, or that week of the readathon, but I don't know. This is a fae, this has got fae in it, which, you know, back when I bought this, there were very little fae. Fae is not as popular as it is at the moment. I do want to read this at some point, but this is probably the least priority on this list. We also have Karen Marie Moaning and Dark Fever. This is another fae urban fantasy. I believe it takes place in Scotland? Ireland. It takes place in Ireland. I don't know anything else about this. All I know is I've had this book for a long time and I should read it. And lastly, this is very different from the other ones, and I don't know a ton about this, and that is Bite Marks by Jenica Snow. The reason I bought this one is I was scrolling through Pango, as one does, while watching BookTube, which again, while one does, and I was looking at this book at the same time I don't even know who I was watching, mentioned this author and how much she enjoyed their books, so I decided I was going to pick it up because it was right in front of me, and this is it says, I was ruthless, brutal, a sociopath by all accounts, the leader of the American vampire clan, a male who all feared because I was merciless. And then I found my mate, so fragile, breakable, so human. I'd make her mine, and she'd hate me for it. This might be not my thing, but it had vampires in it, and I'm in a vampire mood. I want all the vampires. All the time. So this, and also like, it's like 450 pages, but the font is ginormous. It's almost like you print it out like a computer. So this feels like it's going to be a very fast read. So I am super interested in getting to it. I don't know, excited is the right word at the moment, because there's a lot of books on this list. I am excited for it, just maybe not from, I am backpedaling, so I'm going to stop this right here. All right, there's a lot of books, and so I'm not going to try to pick them up, but it's a pretty diverse-ish list in terms of genres and subgenres. So we've got 5 contemporary romances, 2 fantasy romances that are both massive, and 7 paranormal romance urban fantasies. So ambition, but like, it's getting warm out. I'm excited for all the things. I just want to consume all the things, and even though my eyes might be bigger than my brain, or whatever metaphor works for this, I want to read all of this, and I want to read all of this in March. I just don't know if I'm gonna be able to. I'm hoping it's a kinder month to me. February, just, I don't know, I was kind of off my game on every bit, so like, hopefully in March I can stay strong. I've got a couple of days before that I am not done with my February TBR, so this is why I'm not doing the wheel anymore, is because I can't get the things done that I want to read. Therefore, why would I? Anyway, please comment down below and let me know what you are reading in March. Please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. I would greatly appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.